What's good, family? Smash the like button, subscribe, and lick off the bell. Wow! Your man's Peter Fury. He be getting all up inside AJ's goofy looking ass team's booty. You best believe. Yeah? Rob McCrappen, your booty is owned by Peter Fury right now because he all up inside it. Yeah? He not even a bit not inside your booty right now, Rob McCrappen, and goofy Fernando Alonso, and goofy Job from the Bible. No doubt. Let's get to it then. So, like I said, your man's Peter Fury all up inside AJ's team's backside right now. Yeah? No doubt, 100% confirmed. That's what he is. That's where he is right now. So, just in case some of you might have missed it, initially, more or less immediately after the fight, Peter Fury made some kind of standard comments, which I'm going to read to you now, and then we'll get to the smoky ones. He said, adjustments for AJ. 1. Better variation of the jab. 2. Know how to use correct angles to walk down. 3. Know when to go hands up and go down for how to read feints and respond. 5. Body attack. 6. Use size properly. 7. Make smaller man work without landing. Then he said, just thinking what AJ needs to work on and put a few things down. Just a few. In reality, he's got at least 10 things to work on. You think only 10? Got about a million, but anyway. It goes on. You can't just walk down Usyk. He holds power, and southpaws have double when you walk into them. More so than orthodox fighters. It's not what AJ did wrong. It's how good Usyk is. To step to that level, he needs more tools in his bag. In the meantime, it's 9:30. And now time for some Bible study. Remember, I'm just a fan giving an opinion. Anyway, so they were the ones from earlier in the week. Obviously, in my opinion, from what we know now, from what I've heard from people close to the situation, Peter Fury is essentially reaching out to AJ. Yeah? And the thing is, what frustrates me to an extent is that, guess what? For the last 2 years, in fact 2.5 years now, can you believe that? Can you believe AJ lost 2.5 years ago now? In 2019, June. Where's that time gone? Crazy. Anyway, my point is, what frustrates me to an extent is, we now hear in a lot of these trainers and a lot of these Johnny-come-latelys come along and make their bid. Oh, I want to train AJ. Where was these mans 2.5 years ago? Oops. Because I'll tell you who was there. Your man R.I.P was there, putting videos up, no doubt. Yeah? I was saying all the things, yeah, these so-called trainers took them 2.5 years to work out. 100%. Most people was rubbing AJ and his team off after the Ruiz performance. In fact, some of them still do. Oh, it was amazing how he came back, and was it? He goofy. He running around from a dude who was 400 pounds, who couldn't move. What's amazing about that? Who couldn't outbox Andy Ruiz? Bearing in mind, 6'3" Joseph Parker outboxed him. Oops. If 6'3" Joseph Parker, who ain't no good anyway, anyone who turns up here and gives Joseph Parker a fight, he loses. But yet, he was able to box Andy Ruiz's head right off for him. And you want to congratulate AJ at 6'6" for outboxing him. Outboxing Ruiz, who was in worse shape. Andy Ruiz was in one of his best shapes when he fought Joseph Parker. He won in no shape for the rematch. Oops. But anyway, let's get to the smoky comments. Because like I said, initially, on the 28th, a day or two after the AJ fight against Usyk, yeah? You heard the comments there from Peter Fury. He came out and he likes to think, from what I'm hearing anyway, people close to Peter Fury tell me that Peter Fury was hoping, because bearing in mind he's got 120,000 Instagram fans, or Twitter fans, he was hoping that this was going to get more, what's the word? He thought this was going to get more of a reach, if that makes sense. He was thinking, oh, I'll put this post out and AJ will be straight on my blower, trying to ring my line down, trying to get me to train him. So then obviously he got a bit frustrated at the fact that AJ and his goofy team don't give a F about what Peter Fury is saying. So then he came in with a bit more of an aggressive approach. And he said the following. In answer to your question as to why AJ was blowing for air is he fought at Usyk's pace, which was fast, deliberately by Usyk. Hence AJ was already boxing the other man's game and didn't realise it, rather than going at his own natural pace. All a mistake. Anyway, that wasn't the right one. This is the one. Peter Fury says, when you're losing a fight, it's a trainer's job to say you're losing and why. Then start to tell the fighter what to do to rectify it. Isn't all this pretty standard? Obviously not for everyone. Laughing face. Monkey emoji. So essentially, like I said, he's turning up the ante here. He put out the typical political posts, giving out tips. He realised that didn't have no impact. So he thought, you know what, F this. I'm going to do what the YB doing and air out Rob McCrappen and his goofy looking ass team. It's facts though, isn't it? Call him a liar. Listen, of all the things you might be able to call him, I'll tell you what you can't call him. A liar. He ain't lying, not even a little bit. Of all the little bits, listen, of all the little bits he may be doing in his comment, in his tweet, yeah? I'll tell you what he ain't doing, and that's lying. How about that? 100%. It is your, and listen, I'm not going to take, me, yeah, because we're, the YB and all of his dons, we're 2 years ahead of these dudes, to be fair. Even Peter Fury, I'm 2 years ahead of him, because these men are just getting to the, critiquing level. I.e., these men are just getting to the critiquing the trainer, but I'm past that now. We now must critique AJ, because guess what? He had 2.5 years to make changes to his team. These mans are 2 years behind. It's no good blaming the team now. Blaming the team was good for the first loss. That's where you start. For the first loss, you blame the team. Team, take responsibility. The second loss, under similar circumstances, you have to start looking at the athlete. Why are you not making these changes? I.e., why aren't you sacking Rob McCrappen? Why aren't you bringing in proper trainers, not Fernando Alonso, an F1 racing driver, and Job from the Bible, some Don 4,000 years old? What's that about? Who by the way, not one of them man have any credentials either. It's funny, people say YB, haha. I can't believe you think you're I can't believe you think you could add something to AJ. Well, guess what? Fernando Alonso could. Well, Fernando Alonso thought he could. What's he done? Yeah? So before any of you goofy mans tell me what I haven't done, what's anyone in AJ's team done? Because Fernando Alonso ain't done nothing. Yeah? Rob McCrappen ain't done nothing. Carl Froch already told him, listen. Carl Froch already said, listen, truth is, Rob, truth is, people, all the fights I did well in, I did well because I ended up biting down on the gum shield. It wasn't because of the crap strategy Rob McCrappen was giving me. In fact, to the contrary. Carl Froch says that he won most of his fights because he ignored Rob McCrappen. Because guess what? Rob McCrappen was telling him, that's it, nice and slow behind the jab. Carl Froch only really won his fights because he bit down on his gum shield. Which, by the way, was never the advice from your man Rob McCrappen. Which we now know is also the case. A leopard don't change their spots. Rob McCrappen never told Carl Froch to bite down on the gum shield, and he never told AJ to do the same. Oops. All we hear from Rob McCrappen is the same thing. That's it, nice and calm, behind the jab. And before you know it, AJ went from a 6.5 out of 10 jab to now he's got a full-fledged amateur jab. Pity-patty one. AJ was on the way to having one of the best jabs in heavyweight history. That's a fact. When you look at the Parker fight and all the fights before that. Charles Martin fight. Go back to them times. He was on the way to really having a defining jab. And then it's gone backwards. Now it's like, ooh, pity-patty, let's go some points on amateur. And you can't even blame. Because he's training in an amateur gym. But again, Peter Fury going at the trainings, which is 100% correct. AJ, there's no denying it. AJ's trainers are absolutely inept. However, at this point, in 2021, we can't spend another 3 years blaming trainers, people. We've got to hone in on the real issue. And the real issue is AJ. I don't know what's going on. I'm not sure if he's got a cabal handler handling him up. Yeah, Rob McCrappen, maybe his handler. That's the only thing that makes sense. 100%. Maybe number one cabal handler. Because it don't make no sense in no other place. Rob McCrappen ain't got a clue what he's doing. Not even a bit of a clue does he have. Because if he did, he'd have told AJ, put the hammer down. You get licked up by some next cruiserweight looking ass with goofy teeth. Yeah? If I was in the corner, I'd have told him, listen, AJ. You know how in camp we talked about my man's teeth being goofy? Make them even goofier. That's what I told him, 100%. Yeah? Send him back to his people with even goofier teeth. That's what I'd have been saying in the camp. Yeah? It's time to go extra goofy teeth mode. 100%. No, 100%. I'd have been telling him in camp, AJ, you know how he spent time talking about that mode we need to go into? The one where we stretch his teeth out some more? It's that mode time. Because you've proven you ain't got the IQ you thought you had. Oops. Get in there. goofy teeth mode. Yeah, or goofier teeth mode. That's what should have been pushed. Instead, oh, yeah. Well, nice and that's it, Josh. Nice and easy. Nice and calm. A bit lighter on the feet. Wow, lighter on the feet? Stiffen the feet up. Bend your knees. Walk forward. Elbows in, chin down, Chuck Norris style. About lighter on the feet. Lighter on the feet for what? What is this? Tiddlywinks? Touch butt? Anyway. So you heard there from Peter Fury, but this wasn't the last of the comments, because he put a tweet out saying that, mugging AJ's team off about how, listen, it's pretty standard advice, isn't it? But obviously not for everyone. That's so muggy, but it's true. It's important. It is muggy, but it's true. For everyone, apart from AJ's team, or AJ and his team, it was obvious. And that's another thing, I'm sick of this narrative. A lot of AJ fangirl dons, especially in the media, they've started saying things like this. You know, people like Eddie Hearn, you know, it's a lot easier to say, it's a lot easier on the outside to say what needs to be done. Well, not really. Yeah, not when you've been doing this for 15 years. Oops. Yeah? Not when it's your job. Not when we've seen you do the same before. We've seen you do it in the Klitschko fight 4 years ago. So don't tell me that, you know, it's hard to do. What do you mean? It wasn't hard to do against Klitschko, who put you down. Which means you should have been more scared to do it against him. It didn't stop you against Dillian White. So don't tell me a man who built his career. That's what AJ and his team are forgetting. You man make out that you was built on this massive IQ. No power having, no power having, no chin having IQ. Looking ass. That's how you make out your career was built. Well, YB, what do you expect? He was known as a super duper IQ don. No, he wasn't. He was known as people. No one ever lied. I know, obviously casuals, but casuals, yeah. And even myself, to an extent, I was saying AJ has the potential to be a hybrid between Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis. That's where the potential lied. 100%. I still believe that. I still think that's a possibility. Every day it goes by, it's less a possibility, because he be trying to do something he's not made for. Nonetheless, the facts are the facts. That's what you're supposed to be doing. But you seem to be rock hard about this boxing business. He boxed your head off. You had all the advantages. You had the height. You had the power. You had everything. And you still got your head boxed off, which proves that if you get your head boxed off, yeah, and you got all the attributes, that means you ain't as good as a boxer you thought you was. So pack it in. It's not. I'm sick of hearing. I've been saying this as well, but some of you AJ super fans was sucking it off. I said to you, man, I said, listen, I'm sick of AJ telling us, I just want to show the fans I can box. Ain't no one trying to watch that. You goofy dons in my comment section, YB, you want to see Rock'em Sock'em, YB, yeah, YB, you don't want to see, you don't appreciate people evolving, you don't appreciate the finer IQ. Oops, where was the IQ you man was chilling? Because when I was calling out for the last 2 years, you man was stroking yourselves off about IQ. So where was the IQ you man was talking about? Oh, but don't tell me. Oh, but YB, no, there was loads of IQ, but U6 is better. Nah, that don't cut it, unfortunately. You've either got bags of IQ or you ain't. If you ain't, pack it in, because what we know is, we know AJ's got bags of heavy inside shots. So why are we trying to make something, why are you trying to make a cow into an elephant? Don't make no sense. You've got bags of inside shots. You've got bags of power. You haven't got bags of IQ. Why spend years pretending to increase your IQ, which you ain't doing anyway? What do you think? AJ's put videos out. And it's the thing. Even before this fight, yeah, AJ was putting videos out juggling and doing this flip-floppy rubbish where some dude had, you know them things using swimming? Them floating flumes. AJ was doing this alleged head movement with floating flumes. Yeah? And people, I was like, what's he doing? Elbows in, chin down. People was telling me, YB, actually, you know, that floating flume, that foam flip-floppy thing, that's used to increase head movement. Oh, was it? Because he weren't using the head movement. Where was all the floppy flume when your mum was getting popped in the mouth? YB, but you know, the juggling's used to increase IQ. Wow, you man are dopey. What, you think juggling balls? Someone explain to me how juggling balls equates to getting popped in the mouth. I never got that. Punches don't go round in circles in front of your head face. punches come straight at you. What's wrong? What's wrong with people? It makes more sense to get like a low-powered rifle or a rubber, or a rubber bullet gun and shoot at you. At least then it's similar kind of thing. You got something sharp coming straight at you. Juggling, what are they doing? Anyway, so yeah, you saw Peter Fury there, and then obviously this is the part where Peter Fury shoots his shot. So he airs out AJ's team, and then he says this. He says, I'm going to get on the wine again. Boxing is a closed shop. Trade secrets and all that balls. Everyone's welcome in our gym, except for sly FUCKers. There's no entry. So basically, like I told you at the start of the video, from what I'm hearing, Peter Fury is shooting his shot. Yeah, he wants AJ to know, AJ, your team's a bump. Your team's full of bumps. So I want you to know that my gym's always open because I've got loads of IQ. But let me say this right now. You might know my opinion. Will Peter Fury be better than AJ's current team? Yes. Anyone will be better. I'll feel more comfortable with anyone apart from Ben Davidson. Yeah? Anyone. Well, to be honest, well, I don't know. But they're about the same. Ben Davidson and Rob McCracken and AJ's current team are about the same. But anyone else, I'd rather roll the dice. Including myself. No word of a lie. I'd bet on myself getting better results than them, man. 100%. 100%. No doubt. That said, though, Peter Fury, you ain't the YB. You ain't the number 2 trainer in the world right now. That's what you're not. Yeah? Of all the things you are, what you're not is the number 2 trainer in the world like the YB is. Yeah? 100%. You ain't that. And why that's relevant is, why it's relevant that you're not the number 2 trainer in the world right now is because your son Huey sucks. That's not me being horrible, it's a fact. And I understand that Huey ain't got all the gifts, but you're gassed off Huey, which tells me that what you say and what you do are two different things. If that makes sense. You're good at talking real talk when it's other people, but when it comes down to your own, you ain't so good at that. So that tells me that you're not 100% unbiased. Me, I'll tell anyone. I'll tell my own kin. Because the truth for me is the truth. What am I going to blow smoke up my kin's ass for? Huey, he needs to be told a few things. You ain't tell them things. So, like I said, leave the training to the number 2 trainer in the world right now. I understand what you're trying to do, trying to get some bread and whatever else and whatever. No, I understand. The thing is, as a trainer, the YB, obviously, we're all trainers. So, because we're all trainers, yeah, I can appreciate that when you're a top-level trainer, like the YB, like Peter Fury, you see these things and they frustrate you. It's frustrating, 100%. I'm sitting there, screaming at the TV, talking about things I'd said 2 years ago. So I get it. Everyone who's got any bit of a brain can see what's going on and they're frustrated. Everyone apart from anyone in AJ's team. Isn't that amazing? There's literally 1,000 people who could do a better job. But yet, it wouldn't be so bad, yeah. Where YB? AJ's only got 2 man in his camp. You've got a 30-man team. Wait there, you've got a 30-man team and not one Don has a clue what they're doing. Wow. That's bad. And the worst thing is, we're now a week later and AJ made no changes. And from what I'm hearing, he doubling down. From what I'm hearing, he doubling down with Rob. From what I'm hearing, he doubling down with running around. His plan is, oh, I'm going to prove that I can get it back like I did with Ruiz. That's his plan, I'm hearing. He planning to go in there and, oh, I'm going to prove all the haters wrong. I can box with Usyk. I can outbox Usyk. That's his plan. So, hold that to AJ. Because I tell you now, if AJ's plan is to go in there and try and outbox Usyk, I hope he loses. Bottom line. Because I ain't trying to watch that. I've been saying that for 2 years now. I ain't trying to watch it. I ain't trying to watch it. I ain't trying to justify it. Because all it'll prove is that even if AJ did go in there and win boxing, yeah, it proves that he's shot mentally. It proves he don't want to get in the fight. It proves that he ain't got no shame. It proves that he ain't got no pride. It proves that he ain't a Hall of Famer. Because I've told you before, when he lost to Ruiz, yeah, and he came back in that moist way, didn't want to get stuck in, didn't want to get his get back, yeah, didn't want to get his, didn't want to get Andy Ruiz got. I allowed it. But how many more losses do you want to take without getting revenge? No, revenge for me isn't running around and for dear life and running around. Revenge is when you say, you beat me, you had me rocking and rolling on the ropes as a cruiserweight. I'm going to have you at the dentist fixing your even goofier teeth. Yeah? That's what should be happening. Nothing more, nothing less. But I already know what's coming because, do you know how I know? After the fight, Yeah? Minutes after the fight, AJ in there kissing Usyk and rubbing him off and all sorts. I'm like, why are you so happy to lose? I don't get that. I've been to a certain level in sport, yeah. Never as high as AJ, but even he used to. And I wasn't even in a physical sport. I've done a bit of sparring, and I know how frustrating it is. Yeah, comparing a normal athletic sport to a combat sport, there's no comparison. In as much as losing in a normal athletic sport is frustrating, when you're getting beat up, it's 10 times more frustrating. So I'm thinking to myself, if I was frustrated losing a standard race, how is AJ getting punched in the mouth and he's happy and smiling about it? It don't make no sense. And I'm sick of hearing the whole thing of, oh, but YB, Anthony Mandela and Anthony Mandela Gandhi and Anthony Dalai Lama. I'm sick of hearing that. I don't care. And no one's trying to watch that. Oh, YB, he's the Virgin Mary and he's different to... I'm sorry, in general life, in general humans, there are accepted emotions. How have you just got turned over in front of your home crowd, and you're in there smiling and taking bicep shots and putting out Dalai Lama quotes? How you do it? I don't get it. There's nothing cool. There's nothing humble about that. It's just goofy. It is so, in my opinion, it shows a lack of respect to your fans, because your fans are hurting. We don't want to see that you're all happy and, oh, don't worry, people, I'm going to show you I can kiss Usyk after getting whooped by him. We want to see that, you know what, people, I'm pissed off. No, I'm not going to his dressing room today. I'll go to his dressing room once I've filled him in and got the job done right. Yeah? Once I've got the YB's coins back, then I may think about going in there and consoling him. What's with this whole... I don't get it. I can't get this whole attitude. It's weird. Super weird. Super fruity. And people don't mind so much. And it's a bit like, to be honest with you, when AJ splattered Dillian White, yeah, I don't remember him going back there and sucking Dillian off. I just don't remember it. So, explain that to me. What's happened? I don't know. Maybe it's, again, I think it's probably money. When you get the money, you just, everyone's happy, ain't they? It's all fun and games, isn't it? There's no real bitterness. When you know you've got $100 million coming in, what's there to be bitter about? But either way, the greats found a way. Yeah? The greats found a way every time to be bitter going in there. And they became even more bitter when they lost. I've got no problem with you winning and being a bit moist if you want to be that way. But when you lose, there's no, in my opinion, it's a no from me. When you lose, you have to take that personally. Yeah? I can't think of nothing worse. When I've lost before, I literally, I've lost in the past. I've lost some of my best friends, or at the time, some of my best friends. I hate them. Yeah, as a person, they're cool, but I think it gets me the most mad, big mad. So I can't think of anything worse than going in there, and I think I've even lost before and refused to kind of go to the medal ceremony because I didn't want to go on there with a silver or whatever. Now I'm not saying, oh, look at me. I'm just saying that makes sense. I don't know how you're doing all this kissing and stuff and taking pictures, unless you still feel like a winner, which makes sense. If you've just made $40 million anyway, who cares about the belts? Well, I lost the belts, but I'm $40 million richer, so that's probably what it is. AJ, even when he loses, still feels like a winner. Look at the Ruiz fight. Lost the Ruiz fight, got paid $30 million, and then that Ruiz rematch turned to an $80 million payday. So he gets rewarded for losing. Now, it won't last forever, because this will be the last one. After this fight, it's going to get a bit played out now. Oh, every time AJ goes in there with someone half decent, he's going to lose first. Anyway, you heard Evan Peter Fury. He want on a team. He want on the team, no doubt.